I'm able to spend time all day, every day with my wife, with my kids, where I want to be, doing what I want to do, because I've chased it hard, and so did my dad, and so did his dad, and so did his dad. I had that given to me, and I definitely want to be able to pay that forward. And so if you go all the way back to great-grandpa Joe, Joseph Christensen, he didn't have a farm handed to him. There wasn't a farm present. He was running the post office, he was running a milk route, he was running a general store, and because he was doing all of those things, he had available capital when not everybody did during the period of the Great Depression, and was able to purchase ground as it became available. There were farms that were lost, and that's one of those things you'd never wish on anybody, but there were a lot of people that plain and simple couldn't make it. Grandpa Joe was willing to do what it took to be in a position to buy.
Mom and Dad were running the store down on the corner. They had the post office, Dad had a milk route, and then they had a small dairy, and they started out that way. And when the opportunity of buying more land, they would purchase the land and be able to start farming it. It started out, obviously slow, and the farm started to grow from there.
Then I look at Grandpa Verl and all the work that he did. Grandpa Verl farmed right through the 80s. You look at what happened with interest rates getting out of control in that window. He was frugal, he was disciplined. That kept the farm together. And not only together, but then expanded upon it. Grandpa Verl's the one that added the Glendale farm.
I was hauling grain down to Logan. I happened to be in the office down there. One of the workers came in, a young man, and asked if they'd be interested in buying his grandfather's farm. And I just overheard that. I was in the office maybe 5 minutes. I called him up and I asked him, I says, I'd heard through the grapevine that your farm was for sale. And I told him Joe Christensen was my father. And he says, "Oh, Joe Christensen. I like him. He's an honest man. Let's talk." We had a farm bought in 2 days, a livable down payment. Anyway, I would never have gotten the farm had not my father been Joe Christensen. And that's one of the things I've wanted to teach my children. The opportunity comes up that they're not hindered by anything I might have done. I hope I could teach that to my children.
I'm the oldest in Dad's family, and so when I got out of college, Dad was still supporting a fairly large family with the farm, and so he wasn't in a position when he was ready to retire, and so I took a job as a fertilizer and chemical salesman. And then as Dad got older, then we started to lease the farm, and it's been good to be able to work with my dad and father through all these years, and he's been very good to allow me to make mistakes and to do things that were maybe different than what he did.
You think about it though, if I had farmed like my dad did, I'd be out of business. And if Clinton farmed like I did, he'd probably be out of business. I mean, you had to stay with the technology and the changes and what went on.
And I just couldn't be more proud of that legacy. I'm proud of who my dad is, and my grandpa is, and my great-grandpa is, and I'm proud of the work that they put in, which provides some of the opportunities. I still have to work hard, I still have to chase. It's not like I've just arrived or just been handed out. I don't work right on the farm I was raised on. I work in cattle, and it is separate, and it is its own enterprise. But those opportunities are present because of what the generations ahead of me did. And that's something I'm proud to pass on to my kids. The fact the opportunity's there. They may or may not want it. They may or may not jump on it. Who knows? You look at even like my dad, the one that farms with my dad, is his nephew, is my cousin Braden, is the one that's there farming with him. The opportunity's been provided. Braden can farm, or has the option to farm, because my dad's farming.
Probably about 50% of what we planted went to safflower, 30% spring wheat, and then the other 20% was between cover crop, oats, and then also alfalfa that we planted. So last year we planted winter wheat, and then it has to go into what we call dormant, so where it almost goes to sleep, and then in the spring it'll come back to life once it's warm enough, and it'll have that head start, and then that way you aren't worrying about a muddy field, because that's one thing about planting in the spring. I have been in a couple mud spots, and it's not fun to get that thing unstuck.
So the planting's all done. We got all of the safflower and spring wheat planted and alfalfa, and things look good right now. We've had good rains. We're just starting into irrigation season and watering first crop hay and trying to get all the irrigation systems up and going again. The irrigated acres aren't a large part of the total, but they're the ones that take the most effort and also the ones that yield the most. That's busy. That's been what's taking most of our time right now.
When we first got married, I mean, we didn't have a tractor with a cab on it. And the combines just had a shade. So it's come a long ways, but I really appreciated for our children to have work to do. And we're incorporated into the farm operation and then learning that until something's done, it's not done. It's not like you stop at a certain hour of the day. You have to finish a job. So I have been grateful for that aspect.
This year I hired the co-op to do my spraying. We had a new sprayer to us and it took some repairs, and so typically we like to do most of our own spraying, but we did hire quite a bit done this year.
So we've got this new sprayer, or new to us sprayer. I mean, it's pretty old. We're just working on getting that one set up. We're having to change nozzles over to it, also having to change the control system, GPS setup to it, so then the tractor can communicate to the sprayer.
You're going to spend time fixing it, whether it comes on your time frame or when it decides to break, you know. And so if you can be proactive on that, it is a much less stressful process. When you're needing to be going and your sprayer isn't ready to go, then that becomes very stressful. And although paying the co-op to spray my wheat acres cost me a lot of money, at the end of the day, it's worth having it done on a timely manner. That's going to make me back more than trying to save too much, trying to get my sprayer ready to go, you know. So that can be stressful as well, but you're dependent on everything. You're only a small part of the picture there, you know.